Get ready for a lengthy video. Today we are reviewing the Gelid Liquid 240. This is the cheapest 240 millimeter radiator based AIO that is featuring a temperature display on the pump. And speaking of how cheap it is, this one is only $80. Hey guys, welcome back to the Hardware Sense channel. My name is Ivan, and like I mentioned in the preview, we're going to do a lengthy review of this Gelid Liquid 240 AIO. This one released earlier this year, but I finally managed to grab a unit and review it for you guys. And why I was so curious about this one, because there's so many different brands, almost every other brand that is producing some form of AIOs out there. They have models that feature a temperature indicator of some sort or display over their pump or somewhere else. But majority of these are very expensive. I'm talking about over 140, 150 to 200 to over $200 for 240 millimeter AIOs. And the 360s are even more expensive. I'm talking about EVGA, MSI, EK, NZXT, Corsair. Everybody out there has models like that. And I personally believe they should not be that expensive because this technology is not that new. The first units I think were released 5-6 years ago, and by now everything should have been trickled down and units should be costing as much as this Gelid, which is again $80. This is exactly what I think is reasonable for 240 millimeter AIO to cost, featuring that temperature indicator. Now, this is not a fancy display over here. It's only displaying the temperature. There's no animations, there's nothing like that. But for $80, I absolutely love it. And before I move into the unboxing, installation, results, testing, and all that stuff, what I'm going to use is right here. You guys see this old friend right here is the HP Omen 30L. And you guys have been probably asking, well, why are you bringing us back to this old stuff? You know what? People are still using that. And after using all the internal parts to build another computer, if you guys follow my channel, you see the previous videos before, I actually used some parts that I have and reused this case for that specific computer right now. So this is a Frankenstein of a computer right here. Only the case, memory, and power supply are from the Omen 30L. The motherboard is from the Lenovo Legion T5 AMD based one. The GPU is EVGA RTX 2080 Super. The AIO here is 120, but it's not from the Omen. This is from the older Obelisk. I really like the red tubing. That's why I grabbed one of those brand new for like $30 or something like that. And I wanted to reuse it. But again, this case is not well engineered, despite the fact that it actually looks very good and nice and tidy. The space is not enough. We have only small exhaust fan. We have only one 120 pushing air inside. By the way, I'm gonna have a future video that I'm gonna fully modify this case to add another 120 millimeter fan in the front. This is gonna require a lot of cutting. So yeah, stay tuned for this one. But now I'm gonna transfer all the internals that I've already placed here. I've run some tests. I'm gonna show you the results of the temperatures of the CPU and the GPU here, of course, with the case open, so we can make a more relevant comparison with the case open with the 120 here and with the case open of the new one with the 240 of the Gelid. And what I'm going to use is a new case. This is a Montag Air 100 ARGB. One of the best, if not the best, value for money. For under $60, you're getting a great case with tempered glass, with 4 included fans that are ARGB, with an abundance of space and a lot better ventilation, hopefully, compared to this one. Obviously, we have an option to install the 240 here, which this one will be going there as well. As a CPU, I have Ryzen 5 5600. Nothing incredible, but still with the 120 over here, the temperature is not anything amazing, and I think it could be a lot lower after we install the Gelid Liquid 240. So without further ado, let me go in straight into the unboxing. It will be a quick unboxing and of the contents. I'm going to do a quick installation as well. I don't want to spend a lot of time showing you how it's installed. Obviously, if you follow the instructions of the box inside, you're going to see how the installation is. I'm more interested to see the results and what kind of temperature differences we're going to get with the 240 compared to the 120 from the Omen or the Obelisk, actually made by Cooler Master. Not a bad unit, but just the way it's installed here with a lot of obstruction and the small case, it doesn't perform to the maximum possible potential. But trust me, I'm going to be reusing this one in some other builds in the future that I'm going to show you as well. But that's how I roll. If you guys been with the channel, you know I reuse a lot of parts and I kind of create stuff that is serviceable, and people that are on the lower budget, you don't want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars, you can still enjoy some competitive gaming, because the upgrade here cost me what, $60 or less than $60 actually. I think $56 I paid for the Montag Air 100 and $80 for the Gelid Liquid 240. So we're looking at the $140 upgrade from this case with all the internals inside to a new one. So yeah, let me go ahead and go straight in. Of course, we're gonna show the results at the end. We're gonna talk about it in the conclusion. So be patient and grab yourself some snacks and drinks and stay tuned. What's inside the box, we're gonna find out in a second. Before we open the box, let's see what's on top. Obviously nice and very good retail box with images of the product, exactly how it's gonna look. The pump, the 240 AIO and everything else. On the side, we see some more things, what's compatible with high quality sleeve tubing, extreme cooling performance, temperature display, premium class radiator, infinite mirror, and the fans are going from 750 RPMs to 1800, noiseless motor. I don't know how noiseless it is, we're gonna find out, and AM5 compatible. And if we look at on the back side, there's some more data here. The fans are pushing 61.9, 3-pin ARGB connector, hydrodynamic bearing, all that stuff is outlined here. The TDP maximum is marked as 240 watts. Interesting, because I have some tower coolers that are more than that, 260, 265. So I don't know why they're undercutting themselves, or maybe they're just being fair. We have included the GC4 cutting edge thermal compound. Well, if you know Gelid, you know they had some very good thermal paste in the past. Probably the most famous one is the diamond IC that we used to have, and I use many times, and nicely outlined. We have the back brackets for everything, and they're labeled, which is great to see. Here's the thermal paste right here, the GC4. We have extension cables for the fans, 4-pin extension cable. So the two fans are going in, and this one goes into your motherboard or a fan controller if you have. And this is the power right here, SATA to the 3-pin for ARGB. In the other little bag, we have all the parts we need for the different sockets, and all the screws and everything else. So we have everything labeled nicely. For AM5, we have the Gelid GC4 with a little spreader. More screws for LG 2011. Universal screw kit right here. Some more brackets for the bracket, well, it says bracket kit, I'm assuming for AMD. And we have the radiator screws right here for mounting. And this is the back plate with some 3M isolator. If you would like, you can stick it. I never stick those to the back of my motherboard. I keep them the way they are, just enough so I can mount it. So because you never know when I'm gonna have to disassemble it. And this is all plastic, by the way. This is not metal, but it's a high quality ABS plastic. Also, we have the two fans right here, RGB. We have nice and in English user manual, how everything needs to be done. Obviously, we're gonna follow that to see how quick the installation is. The two fans are here, and let's see what's on the back of them. A little bit of a kind of a mirror finish here on top of the fans. Super quiet, I can barely hear this fan spinning. Rubber isolators and the 4-pin for power, and we have the ARGB connector here, 1800 maximum. Gelid solutions. So again, considering this is the cheapest 240 millimeter radiator, all-in-one liquid cooler that is featuring a temperature display on the pump or anywhere, $80. I think most other companies will set you back at least $120, $130 or even more. And here's our radiator right here, nothing special, just a regular thickness on the radiator. We have braided tubes, which is good to see. So here's the thickness of the pump, quite high extending, and we have the mirror finish right here. The temperature display will be right in the middle. After we install it, we're going to see there's no pre-applied thermal paste, so that's why they're giving you the GC4. And let's see how shiny this is. Not quite a mirror finish on the copper base, could have been smoother, but maybe that doesn't matter that much. I'm going to put the sticker back on for now. The tubes are fairly free rotating on different angles. Maybe that's going to be beneficial. You're going to see how it looks. When it comes to cables, what we have coming out of the pump, and again, is the ARGB, because we have ARGB on the pump as well, and the power is 3-pin. So this is going to connect straight into your motherboard, or if you prefer, like myself, sometimes I'll have SATA to fan connector. That way I am 100% sure that 12 volts are going straight into the pump, and I'm not limiting myself. So yeah, pretty simple. Again, for $80, I was not expecting anything amazing, but this Gelid solution is the cheapest that is offering a temperature display, a real-time temperature display on the pump for this kind of money. We have a little branding here, Gelid Solutions. So yeah, this is for the unboxing. We're gonna go ahead and install it on my computer, and we're gonna see what kind of results we're gonna have compared with the 120. Obviously, hopefully it's better, and the processor is actually not that much demanding when it comes to heat and heat dissipation. So hopefully this one is gonna be perfect solution for that exact situation. And we're gonna see what kind of results we're gonna get. So here we are back with everything installed. Follow some of the process. Obviously I didn't show too many details. It would have taken too long to go through the installation. But if you follow the manual inside the box of the Gelid Liquid 240, the installation takes about 30 minutes. The majority of the time for me took to migrate all the internals from the old Omen 30L to this Montec Air 100 ARGB case. And the only negative here is obviously with the Lenovo motherboard, I cannot really control the ARGB or the RPMs of the fans, but luckily the Air 100 has a button right here, and all the fans and the fans from the Gelid plus the pump go in the same exact ARGB controller, and from the top I can just easily change the colors and cycle them through. So that's not that great of a deal. The only issue is the RPMs you can't really control, and maybe in the future I will think about replacing this motherboard. At the moment it's doing a good job, but I want to have a little bit more control, especially for the fans. But maybe instead of replacing the motherboard, I will add a fan controller, and that way I can channel all the fans together and control them this way, lower the RPMs, because right now they're operating at their maximum, which obviously keeps everything cooler, but the noise is a little bit higher, and that way the comfort can be a little bit better. Now, one negative I can mention about the Gelid is the display over here, and this is the temperature of the liquid inside. You have no way to control what is displayed over there on the pump. There's no software to install and monitor and control. Maybe that's a plus, maybe that's a minus. Plus, because you don't have to install anything extra that's gonna bloat your computer and slow it down potentially. On the flip side, there's no control. You can't really see it in Windows desktop, what kind of temperature is there, and kind of measure what's the difference between the liquid temperature that is showing over here and the actual temperature of the CPU if you're monitoring with other software. So take it the way it is. Is it positive? Is it negative? For me, it's slight negative because I would like to have a little more control. But at the same time, again, this Gelid is $80 when you have it on sale, probably under $80 as well. And you having a nice ARGB fans, ARGB pump, and temperature monitor display right on it. That way it provides you a little more information for a little amount of money compared to all the competitive companies out there. And you will see some temperature comparison. This Ryzen 5 5600, how it performed before this upgrade with the 240, with the old Omen 30L and the 120 AIO by Corsair that actually makes that one for HP. Obviously the difference is big. We have a 240 here versus 120. Even in an open case, the 240 performs much better. But in addition, it's much quieter, even at the highest RPMs. Has a lot more options, the RGB, the temperature, and all that stuff. So to me, that migration is definitely worth it. $60 for the case, $80 for the Gelid AIO, and we're looking at $140 upgrade. And like I mentioned, I'm just gonna grab some fan controller, throw it in there, and I can lower the RPMs down, make it a little bit more manageable and more pleasant for the ear. So yeah, that's pretty much it. What can I say? Gelid Liquid 240 for $80. I think this is a win. If you're looking for not spending too much money and you still like to have some extras like the RGB and the temperature monitor on the pump, don't go out there and just grab Kraken or something like that for $150, $160. Spend half of the money, $80, grab the Gelid, throw it in there, and still gonna perform nicely, especially with the lower tier to mid-tier processors. Now, obviously, I'm not gonna put this on super high-end processors because they're producing a lot more heat. In this case, better get something 360 or other cooling solutions that will give you better performance. But something like this, if you like to keep it on a budget, I definitely approve this one. And so far, I love majority of what I'm seeing, and this computer is gonna remain in this state, and I'll continue to play some games on it. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video, stay tuned to the channel, subscribe if you're new, Check out some of the other videos coming very, very soon. And as always, guys, you have a wonderful day.